Making news in America this morning, the world loses a legend, Joan Rivers, a pioneering comedian turned fashion critic. The new reaction from her death coming in.
Slowly flowing and no way to stop it. Red-hot lava is burning everything in its path as it creeps closer to homes, forcing a state of emergency overnight.
Crafty criminals, well planned and executed. How a group pulled off this theft, caught on camera.
And dangerous dive. A man does what's being called the ultimate belly flop.
From ABC News in New York, this is America This Morning.
Good morning. We begin with the loss of another one of Hollywood's brightest luminaries.
Joan Rivers, a reigning queen of caustic comedy, has died at the age of 81 after an illustrious career that spanned 5 decades. She shattered a glass ceiling for female comedians who followed in her footsteps.
And she may best be known for her resilience and her multi-generational appeal. Here's ABC's Gloria Riviera.
It's like a pair of panties.
It is hard to believe. Just 10 days ago, there she was, Joan Rivers, on her own show, delving out her signature belly-aching bar.
Amber's outfit is almost as tacky as Amber's seat was when she got up at the end of the show.
On Thursday in New York, Joan Rivers died after suffering cardiac arrest during a routine throat procedure last week. Her beloved daughter, Melissa Rivers, telling the world, "My mother's greatest joy in life was to make people laugh, although that is difficult to do right now." Born Joan Malinsky in Brooklyn, Rivers broke through in 1965 on The Johnny Carson Show, barreling headfirst through the comedic glass ceiling.
A man doesn't want to come home after a hard day at the office and find some wild-looking, sexy wife lying on a carpet saying, "Hiya, tiger." Yes, he does.
He does.
Telling ABC's David Muir,
Right smack then and there. Changed my life.
for more than half a century, even after Johnny Carson cut her off when her success threatened his own, Joan Rivers never looked back, weathering the suicide of her husband and manager Edgar Rosenberg, and professional ups and downs.
2 years ago, I couldn't get a job in this business.
She once said, if you don't do what you want to do, you're a fool. And in typical diva fashion, she left strict instructions for her funeral.
I want paparazzi, I want publicists making a scene. I want it to be Hollywood all the way.
Chances are Hollywood will deliver, just like Joan Rivers did for so long. Gloria Riviera, ABC News.
Well, Rivers may be best known for a catchphrase, "Can we talk?"
And talk she did, opening up to Barbara Walters, who knew both the public and private Joan Rivers.
She would say anything. She would say all the things that women wanted to say and perhaps didn't. Privately, she was very elegant, a house full of antiques and silver, and rather quiet. We've all said she liked nothing more than to work. And to know that she had this kind of an audience, even when she was unconscious, I think she would have been smiling. I will miss her.
Well, that's ABC's Barbara Walters remembering her good friend. It was a routine procedure at a doctor's office in Manhattan that may have triggered her heart attack last week.
As a result, the New York State Department of Health has launched an investigation into operations at that outpatient clinic.
Sources tell ABC News, however, that right now the investigation is routine. There's no suspicion of any wrongdoing.
Much more about Joan Rivers' passing later on America This Morning, including how comedians are reacting on Twitter overnight, plus a live report coming up on Good Morning America.
But we move on now to the high-stakes NATO summit in Wales. American officials say we can expect some news on the group's plans for action on the two most critical issues before them, Ukraine and ISIS. Thursday's meetings were described as, quote, diagnostic on a range of issues from terrorism to Ebola. President Obama hosts a solo news conference later this morning.
Well, Rena, even while the president is in Europe, the search continues for those responsible for the execution-style murders of American journalists. U.S. officials say they have identified the mastermind behind the social media campaign being waged by ISIS, and he's an American. Here's ABC's Brian Ross.
The hunt is on for an American who may have helped to create some of the graphic videos of battles, executions, even child recruits seen in new images, all rolled out on Twitter, Facebook, and other sites like some slick American media campaign. Law enforcement officials now tell ABC News they are focusing on this former college student from Boston, Ahmad Abu Samra, believed to be one of the architects of the ISIS social media strategy. An honors student at a Catholic high school, Abu Samra went on to Northeastern University, where he studied computer technology. The very skills authorities say he is using now. The internet campaign authorities say Abu Samra helped engineer, with its horrifying images, has been vital to the ability of ISIS to capture the world's attention and win new recruits from the U.S. and elsewhere.
Brian Ross reporting now to another developing story, the Ebola epidemic. An American missionary infected with the virus is expected in Nebraska later today. Dr. Rick Sacra contracted Ebola while serving in Liberia. He'll be treated at an Omaha hospital's special isolation unit, the largest such unit in the U.S. Sacra was not working with Ebola patients, but delivering babies.
He was so concerned with the children who were going to die without hospitalization. He is not someone who can stand back when there is a need that he can take care of.
His wife says Sacra is in good spirits. The Ebola epidemic has killed about 1,900 people. The U.S. aid agency is donating $75 million to cover medical care and protective suits for healthcare workers.
Former Virginia Governor Bob McDowell and his wife Maureen are now facing decades in prison, both convicted on multiple counts of corruption. Prosecutors say the McDowells granted favors to a wealthy businessman in exchange for more than $170,000 worth of lavish gifts and loans. McDowell had claimed he and his wife could not have conspired to accept favors because they were barely speaking.
Everybody's speaking in Hawaii about this. An active volcano has triggered a state of emergency on the big island of Hawaii. Lava from the Kilauea volcano has been advancing nearly 1,000 feet a day since July 10th, threatening a rural community less than a mile away. Mandatory evacuations have not been ordered yet. Kilauea has been continuously erupting since 1983.
Hurricane Norbert is churning in the Pacific this morning off the northwest coast of Mexico. Norbert is expected to stay offshore as it roars up the Baja Peninsula, but schools and beaches have been shut down in Los Cabos. The storm is now packing 90-mile-an-hour winds. Coastal areas are bracing for up to 15 inches of rain, flooding, and rough surf.
Time now for a look at today's weather on the mainland. The stubborn band of severe weather is still stretching nearly 2,000 miles from the southwest up into the Great Lakes. Heavy rains could trigger flash flooding with more rain for the southeast.
Much of the upper half of the nation is cooling down into the 60s and 70s, while much of the Midwest, South, and both coasts still sweat through 80s and 90s.
New this morning, how Apple is stepping up its iCloud security following the breach involving several celebrities.
And developing overnight, an airline pilot is forced to turn the plane around after a request from the FBI.
Plus, caught on camera, a woman's phone ripped from her. What's on that phone that was the victim desperately wanting to find the suspect?
America This Morning's weather, brought to you by Esurance. America This Morning continues now with America's Money.
Welcome back. Apple is going to make it harder to hack into your iCloud account. CEO Tim Cook tells the Wall Street Journal that intruders got into celebrity accounts by correctly guessing security questions. Apple is now sending special alerts when someone tries to restore data from the iCloud.
So if your kids ran up a bill on their Android phones, you may be getting a refund from Google. The company will refund at least $19 million for unauthorized purchases made by children. Google is also promising to make sure children have permission to buy apps. The FTC says there's no indication that Google tried to lure children into spending mom and dad's money.
The oil giant BP could be fined as much as $18 billion more for the Gulf oil spill. A federal judge rejected BP's arguments that it was not the chief culprit in the disaster 4 years ago. Instead, he ruled the company was grossly negligent. BP plans to appeal. The company has already spent more than $28 billion on damage claims and cleanup. Well, jeans companies are crying the blues because sales are down. Some of it is because there haven't been any new styles in a few years, but mostly it's the rise of what's called athleisure, yoga pants, leggings, and other activewear. Still, denim accounts for 20% of sales.
What was that, athleisure?
Athleisure.
Athleisure. When Labor Day was just a few days ago, and already a giant retailer is thinking about Christmas. Kmart admits a new ad is a little early and insists that it's not a Christmas commercial. Instead, it suggests you might have an event in late December for which you need a lot of gifts.
Merry birthday, everyone.
Of course, the reindeer and Santa in the background, oh, those are just coincidences.
Get out there, everybody, and buy some jeans.
Do you know 40% of people actually start buying Christmas gifts before Halloween?
Ah.
And I'm one of them.
All right, let's go shopping.
Jeans is now on my list.
When we come back, lost in the wilderness for days, a couple is finally found. Family members are talking about what likely saved their lives.
Plus, who are you calling shrimp? What in the world did one guy catch while fishing?
America's Money, brought to you by Dannon Creamery.
Now for a look at your morning road conditions. That band of storms is stretching nearly 2,000 miles, causing wet roads from Texas and the southwest into the Great Lakes. Wet conditions will also blanket the southeast.
If you're flying, airport delays are possible in Detroit. Well, a flight traveling to Beijing is arriving 7 hours behind schedule this morning because of a custody battle.
The FBI ordered the United jet to return to Washington. When it did, agents arrested a mother for allegedly kidnapping her child. The child was reunited with the father and the flight resumed. The mother will be in court later today.
A grand jury has indicted a Georgia man on murder charges for the death of his son in a hot car. Justin Ross Harris says he forgot to drop his 22-month-old son off at daycare when he went to work back in June. But prosecutors claim he wanted a, quote, child-free life and that he sent explicit messages to several women as his son was dying. The district attorney says he may pursue the death penalty in the case.
A family friend has been charged with kidnapping and killing an 8-year-old Arizona girl. The body of Isabella Grogan Canella was discovered in a shallow grave near her home in Bullhead City. The suspect, 26-year-old Justin Rector, had been staying in the family's home. Police are not yet saying how Isabella died or if she was sexually abused.
Surveillance cameras have captured a gang of Texas thieves pulling off a bold crime. It happened on a city bus in San Antonio. The unsuspecting woman at the top of the screen gets her phone stolen, but it's a coordinated strike. One guy walks to the front to distract the driver. Two women exit the bus and hold the door open. That's when another man snatches the phone and makes a run for it, and the victim gives a chase.
So when I was running, I was crying because my dad's pictures leaving me.
So that was more than just a phone.
Yeah, I had all my dad's memories on there.
The woman did not get the phone back. She says she no longer uses the new phone on the bus.
Well, a young couple from Wyoming is back home after being stranded in Bighorn National Forest for nearly a week. Blake Furman and Alyssa DeVille were climbing to the peak of Blacktooth Mountain when Alyssa hurt her leg. Thanks to Furman's military training and survival skills, however, they were able to hang on until rescuers got to them. He's also shared his itinerary with his friends, which also helped rescuers. Part of his itinerary, proposing to Alyssa. She said yes.
Very nice. And topping our health headlines this morning, a new weapon in the battle against skin cancer. The FDA has approved the use of Merck's new drug called Keytruda as a last resort for patients suffering advanced melanoma. The drug is the first in a new promising class designed to help the body's own immune system fight the cancer, with about a 24% success rate in shrinking tumors.
Scientists are showing off some remarkably well-preserved bones of a dinosaur which once weighed 65 tons. They were found in southern Argentina. It's believed the long-necked dinosaur was 85 feet long. 30 of those feet were his tail. 37 of those feet, his neck. The giant animal is thought to have roamed the earth some 77 million years ago, and they say it was a vegetarian.
Just like you, no me.
Just like me. Now, some sports. And did you hear the NFL season officially underway?
Oh, you better believe it. Details on last night's season opener now from our guys at ESPN.
He's Stan, I'm Neil. This is Los Angeles, California. This is the Sports Center set here. It's real.
And we're back to football. That's real, too. The season kicked off Thursday night in Seattle. Banner from last season for the Seahawks, and then they got to work on trying to get back to the Super Bowl. Again, Russell Wilson to Ricardo Lockett. And the Seahawks take the lead. They're up 10-7. Less than 4 minutes to play in the second quarter. Tied at 10. First and goal from the 9. It's Marshawn Lynch going beast mode. 20 carries, 110 yards for Lynch. That's one touchdown. First play of the fourth quarter. Here's his second touchdown. Seahawks tough to beat at home. They've won 18 of their last 20. They start the season in style. They beat the Packers 36-16.
Anyone for tennis? Wouldn't that be nice? It was a night match at Arthur Ashe Stadium, so that heavily favored Roger Federer, 27-1, and under that situation, he faced two match points in the fourth set against Gael Monfils and survived them both. Broke Monfils and then just broke his spirit right here when he won the fourth set, 7-5. Federer had lost the first two sets. We went to the fifth set. It's just a formality because they play the best of five, but Monfils, he was toast after losing the fourth, and Roger Federer advances to the semis.
Anything else?
Yeah, I'm just excited.
Okay.
About everything.
Back to you.
I'm excited too. It's Friday.
It's Friday. Who is it? Up next in the Pulse, more tributes to Joan Rivers, how her friends and other comics are reacting online overnight.
Plus, sky-high stunt, why this is being called the ultimate belly flop. Time to check the pulse. Stories you'll be talking about today. Above all, of course, the passing of Joan Rivers.
Memories and tributes are flooding social media this morning.
Actress Anna Kendrick tweeting, "Rest in peace, Joan Rivers. Being publicly told that my dress is hideous will never feel quite the same. You will truly be missed."
Bette Midler also tweeting, "Joan Rivers has died. What a sad ending to a brilliant and tragic comic life. One of the bravest and funniest of all."
And writer-actress Lena Dunham's adding, "Watching Joan Rivers do stand-up at age 21 was incredible, athletic, jaw-dropping, terrifying, essential. It never stopped, neither will she."
Athletic, I never thought of it, but it's so true. She had this incredible stamina about her.
She was amazing, and she would rip anyone, telling one actress that her dress looked like toilet tissue.
And boy, she came into a field where it was all men and really made it work.
A true trailblazer.
Truly. The Kennedy Center is honoring 5 performers for their lifetime contributions to American culture. Topping the list is actor and filmmaker Tom Hanks. Joining him, comedian and actress Lily Tomlin, British rocker Sting, whose songwriting has conquered this continent too.
And the Reverend Al Green, one of the greatest soul singers ever, and the new ballet star Patricia McBride.
The President and First Lady will toast all of them at a gala performance in December. Now to something of a craze over in Britain that has health officials advising against anyone actually doing it.
We'll show you why, but first you should know that it's called belly stoning. Watch and listen.
Oh my God!
Oh! Oh! So that's belly stoning, folks, and please don't try it at home.
Why would you do that? I just don't get it. But maybe the strangest part is that the guy in the video did it, and in the exact same place as someone who was actually paralyzed while doing the same thing. So again, please, 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 please don't do it. Well, an eye-popping catch for a fisherman off the coast of Florida, reeling in quite an oxymoron.
Yeah, he hooked what appears to be a giant shrimp. It's 1.5 feet long, big enough for crab, and you could make it into lobster, but scientists have yet to determine exactly where it came from.
Well, marine experts are speculating it could be some type of mantis shrimp. Mantis shrimp. Either way, it makes a lot of shrimp salad.
It looks tasty.
Yeah, I would eat it with butter.
I would too. Let's eat it.
Maybe
Let's
with the
go try it. For some of you, your local news is next.
For everyone else, we'll be back with your Friday Funnies. Checking our top stories, remembering the queen of caustic comedy, Joan Rivers, hospitalized since going into cardiac arrest last week during a medical procedure. She's died at 81, and an investigation is underway into what exactly went wrong.
A third American aid worker who contracted the Ebola virus in Africa is due in Nebraska today. He'll be treated at an Omaha hospital with the largest isolation unit in the country.
Hawaii's Kilauea volcano has triggered a state of emergency on the Big Island. Advancing lava is threatening a rural community less than a mile away.
Looking at today's weather, a stubborn band of severe weather stretching nearly 2,000 miles from the southwest up into the Great Lakes. It could trigger flash flooding in some areas.
Well, finally from us, leave it to the late night comics to take a serious situation and find some levity.
Yeah, they had some fun with the celebrity picture scandal and some other stories too. Here now, your Friday Funnies.
Welcome to The Tonight Show, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching at home. I am your host, former iCloud user Jimmy Fallon, and
nude and intimate photos of Jennifer Lawrence, Kate Upton, and a lot of other female stars were posted online over the weekend. Why I store all my naked pictures on an Etch-a-Sketch. Oh, trying to steal my nudes? Too bad.
The story, I believe, was broken by 14-year-old Benjamin Perlman of Akron, Ohio. who has diligently spent the last year Googling the phrase, Kate Upton naked.
Well, today, I hate to be the one to break it to you, even more photos were hacked and released. Now, some of the new celebrity photos are really embarrassing. They could ruin careers. Here's a hack photo of Vladimir Putin crying at the movie Frozen.
Canadian police announced today that Justin Bieber was arrested and charged with assault after getting into a fight with a minivan driver. Police still haven't said how Bieber was able to reach the driver from his car seat.
There's talk that Warner Brothers is planning to revive Full House. But I saw the new opening credits, and I guess it's been off the air a little longer than I thought. Just take a look. John Stamos does not age.
That was really good.
Joan Rivers, she will be missed. She once said of Sandra Bullock's gown at the Golden Globes, it looked like Prince's old prom dress. We are going to miss her.
No one could do fashion the way she could.
That's what's making news in America this morning.
Stay with us for Good Morning America. Have a fantastic Friday.